Tonight and the next 3 nights, we present to you the findings of a 2-year investigation into the practice at Mississippi's Department of Human Services. My colleague Rebecca Powers joins us with what she has found out. Rebecca?
Well, Jeff, as you know, I've been investigating claims from so many South Mississippians making what seem to be outlandish allegations against DHS. So I personally met with the Director of DHS, Mark Smith, and asked for an on-camera interview about those allegations. But because of privacy laws, I've been told he cannot comment. We want to warn you, some of what you see and hear in this story may be disturbing.
I've been in the system. I know what it's like to live in a miserable foster home where you're being abused.
But thankfully, Dr. Michael Garrett ended up spending the rest of his childhood in a Christian youth home in Monroe, Louisiana, where he was nurtured and loved. That lit a fire in his soul.
When I got out, God called me to ministry. There was no doubt that I'd spend the rest of my life fighting for these kids.
In 2010, he and his wife Julie opened Purvis's Homes of Hope for Children. The 6,400 square foot home and campus for children is run solely on private donations. But the Garretts never dreamed they were about to go to war with DHS and win.
They always had attitude towards me. They treated my wife and I like dirt from day one.
When they fostered an 18-month-old girl, Kelly Rose, he says they had to fight DHS not to return her to a clearly unfit, abusive home that DHS deems safe.
When you have a 2-time convicted sex offender, a woman who's mentally challenged has had a child die in her home, she lost parental rights to another child because she's so unfit before these other 5 children were born. These are the people that DHS didn't just stand by. They fought for and against me and my wife.
It took the Garretts a 2.5-year trial in Lamar County Chancery Court and $35,000 to prove that Kelly Rose's home was unfit and that she should not be sent back. But her 4 older siblings were still there.
And every single time we had these hearings, they marched one DHS worker after another up there before the judge to tell him that there were no problems.
Judge Ronald Doliak ruled to terminate parental rights for Kelly Rose, and in his decision wrote,
"Frankly, I'm at a loss. DHS chose to ignore the direct order of the youth court judge when he has said the couple's other children should not be returned to the home, and instead substituted its own judgment and interpretation of the law. Some DHS workers in the case developed a bias against the Garretts early on in the proceeding, which only served to hamper the court in making a determination of the facts and the best interest of the child."
His second conviction, mind you, where he went to court, pled guilty, was convicted and served jail time for fondling an 8-year-old little girl, you're going to tell me that this woman is going to stand there and say that the courts found him guilty but DHS didn't? Who do they think they are?
And it turns out very worried teachers had been calling DHS about Kelly Rose's siblings for many months. Garrett says they did nothing.
The testimony from the teachers in our trial was heartbreaking, and with tears in their eyes, describing the situations that these kids were coming to school and what they looked like, what they smelled like. Roaches falling out of one of the little girl's hair during class.
This 2012 case is expected to set precedent for child protection law, but so did the Olivia Y case years before it that would rock DHS to its core.
And that's where we'll pick up tomorrow night. And so you know, WLOX News has been unable to get comment from Kelly Rose's biological parents, but she has now been legally adopted by the Garretts. Please join me in this conversation every night this week on Facebook starting at 9 o'clock. And we'll see you tomorrow night, Jeff.